In this video, I am going to find the square root of a negative number, or I'd rather try to find the square root of a negative number. Let's start off with this very simple example, square root of 25. Okay? By definition, so this is what we define it as. It will be such a number when I multiply the number with itself, it would give me 25. That's the definition of square root. Or if it's a cube root, it will be such a number when I multiply the number with itself 3 times, it would give me that number. So in our particular case, it's easy to see that it's 5 plus 5 or minus 5, because 5 times 5 is 25, and also negative 5 times negative 5 is also 25, because negative and negative cancel out. That gives you positive. That means negative times negative is a positive number. Now let me take this concept and elaborate on it so that we can try to find the square root of a negative number. Okay, so let's start off with a very simple number. Square root of negative 1. We know square root of 1 is plus or minus 1, because 1 times 1 is 1, negative 1 times negative 1 is also 1. So that's perfectly fine. However, when we try to find the square root of a negative number, this is not just for negative 1, for any negative number, but I'm using this simple one as an example. We are looking for such a number, so in order to find the square root of a negative 1, we would be looking for such a number when we multiply the number with itself, we should get negative 1. Now let's do something interesting. Let's look at the number line. That's where our solution or these square root values come from, right? So number line, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and it keeps going in this direction. Negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, and it keeps going in this direction forever. If we look at the number line broadly, we see the following. There are 3 types of numbers on the number line. Positive numbers, the numbers that are to the right of 0. Negative numbers, the numbers that are to the left of 0. And then there is 0 in the middle, which is neither positive nor negative, or sometimes we say it's both. Okay? So number line could be sort of broken down into 3 groups of numbers. One are the positive numbers, the other ones negative numbers, and then the 0 by itself, which could be both positive and negative or neither. Now let's try to see if we can pick any number on the positive side. So let's pick 1 for simplicity. 1 times 1 is going to give me 1. Obviously, it's not going to give me negative 1. So it doesn't work. Pick 0. 0 times 0 is going to give me 0. Obviously, it's not negative 1. Then pick a negative number. Doesn't matter, any negative number. Negative 1 I'll pick for simplicity. Times negative 1 is positive 1, which is also not equal to negative 1. So I have tried all 3 types of numbers. Positive numbers, which is here. Negative numbers, I picked 1 from here. And the 0. I multiply 2 positive numbers, doesn't matter which 2. It will never be equal to a negative number. I multiply 2 negative numbers, it will never be equal to a negative 1 or negative number. So product of 2. So the product of 2 positive numbers is positive. Product of 2 negative numbers is positive. None of these are equal to negative 1, and product of 0 times 0 is also 0, which is not negative 1. Therefore, we have exhausted the entire number line. So there is no number on the number line that would give me negative 1 when I multiply the number with itself. So this number, square root of negative 1, really doesn't exist on the real number line that we have. So square root of negative 1 doesn't exist. Or as a matter of fact, square root of any negative number, let's say negative 15, doesn't exist. Square root of negative 3 doesn't exist. Since it doesn't exist on this number line, which we happen to call real number line, what we have done, we have given this square root of -1 a special name. We call it I for imaginary number. Okay, I is the imaginary number, so I has a special value which is square root of -1. We will talk about these imaginary numbers in other sections, but this is just a quick intro to imaginary numbers. I hope that this discussion was helpful. Thank you very much.